Hi everybody, this is your Professor Ian. Hope you're enjoying this sunny Friday, unseasonably warm Friday, where I am anyways. It's like 93, it's kind of a bummer. Anyways, this is a short video. I want to talk about response paper number 2. It's due this Sunday. Some people have already submitted it, that's great. Some people had some questions, and I wanted to put out some video instructions, some fresh ones. So, here is paper number 2. The instructions are found both in the modules and in that special module with just all the response papers. So, now, remember I use these accordion boxes, so you click on here and it pulls it down so there's more information. That should say 4 response papers. But anyways, this paper is a little bit different than the first paper. It's similar in a lot of ways. It's still 4 paragraphs. Your first paragraph is still working with your initial reflection, which you completed in the 5th week of the course, which is 2.1, Unit 2.1. So you're using that material for your first paragraph, and you want to think about that as setting up information for the rest of your paper, like helping set up the main topic you're going to work on. So, for example, if you were surprised by Los Vendidos being like a comedic play, and you never really thought about that kind of a play before, you're so used to thinking about plays as like Shakespeare, that could be something you think about in your first paragraph and you focus on. Like when I started this unit, I was so used to studying Shakespeare in high school that I didn't really realize that there were people who use plays for satirical purposes and make and write more comedic, topical kinds of plays, right? And that would be a good beginning to a paper if you wanted to focus on that theme. Then in your second paper, or your second paragraph, you could talk about some of the jokes and, focus on like some specific comedic elements of the script. And then in your third paragraph, you could focus on a performance of Los Vendidos, like the one I posted, but there are other performances, and think about what they're doing to emphasize the comedy of that play. And I was talking about a student with this earlier today. A lot of people in the perusal discussion talked about the pace of Los Vendidos when you're watching it compared to reading it. And when you're reading Los Vendidos, it seems, it doesn't go that fast, but when you're watching it, the pace is very quick. It feels like it's just snapping by, right? And that's part of comedy. Comedy has a much faster pace than tragedy and drama, because, drama is about emotions unfolding, consequences, and, that kind of thing. So it works better at drawn out so that, you can experience people's emotions, the sorrow, all these like rich emotions that come with drama and tragedy. Whereas comedy is much more built around comedic beats, setups, and then punchlines, right? So if you think about a sitcom is a very fast-moving genre, right? It's unrealistic in a lot of ways. It's like, so is tragedy and drama most of the time too, right? It really like heightens the emotions. Sitcoms really heighten the comedy, and part of that is pacing, right? If you ever heard someone being described as having like good comedy timing, that's what they're talking about, that like ability to keep that comedy pace where you're setting up punchline, setting up another one, punchline, right? And that's how comedy works. And so you could talk about that in your third paragraph, for example. You don't have to work on Los Vendidos, you don't have to work on this theme, but this is just one I was talking about with a student earlier. So then you would talk about that in your third paragraph, and you focus on like a specific scene in that play, get some textual evidence, and then in your last paragraph, again, you're trying to draw out the conclusion, trying to reach some kind of overall thesis, because remember, with these papers I'm asking you to write, these are response papers. These are not essays as you're probably used to writing them, where you set up an idea and then you go about trying to prove it for the next 4 to 10 pages or whatever with research and other arguments. Instead, this is what I'm calling a response paper. But in some ways, it's more true to the essay tradition, if you want to think about Montaigne and the early essay writers who were using the essay structure as a way to think through an issue. That's basically what you're doing here. You're thinking through what you learned during this unit of the course. And you do that for all the papers. This one, again, is a little bit different than the first paper you wrote. The first paper is meant to be, here's a critical idea I got from a critical essay, here's how it applies to a story. With this paper about theater and drama, it's much more a compare and contrast. Here's what we see in the script, here's how it translates to a specific performance of that play, right? So it's much more of a compare and contrast kind of paper. So anyways, that's about it. I just wanted to go over some of those ideas. The instructions, of course, are there. There's also, you know, a number of resources that are specific to each paper. For this one, you know, there's MLA formatting stuff that I will be looking for. There is material about using quotation marks, using commas. I posted an announcement. If you go to the announcements tab, I posted two actually. One with a student sample, so like an A-, B+ paper from last semester, and I had another announcement about citing YouTube videos, because I assume most of you are going to use a performance off YouTube, and so it gives you the formula for citing resources from YouTube. And this one here, citing drama, has information about in-text citations for when you're citing plays. There's a specific thing we do there too. So I'll be looking for this stuff when I grade these papers next week. So please do review that. And I'll be looking for like triac structure, that you should still be using that structure. You should still be using literary present tense when you're talking about things that happen in the play, and all of those good things. So anyways, that's about it. I just want to record a short video with some ideas. If you have specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. But please do read through the instructions. Think about your project first, and then come to me with specific questions that you'd like to ask me. It's not as useful if you come to me and just ask, what's this paper about? Because I put a bunch of resources up, and you look through those first. I think that's going to be more useful for you to look through those first, and then come to me with specific clarification questions. So anyways, that's about it. If you have any questions or concerns, email me. Otherwise, have fun writing the paper. Have a good weekend. Stay cool. Enjoy Halloween stuff, whatever you're doing. And that's about it. Thank you very much.